Well, I'm going to talk to the children now, and I want to talk about mountains. So this is a photo that I took. Pam and I were on holiday. You can see Pam there in the distance looking over what is part of Wilson's Promontory. And we walked up the mountain and we came to this big rock and we found this lovely view out onto the valley, and you can see the mountains beyond. And it's one of the lovely things about mountains, isn't it, that you walk up often through bush or forest and undergrowth, through a path, and suddenly when you reach the top or you reach somewhere near the top, you get this lovely view to admire. Now I'm going to show you another mountain, well, another hill. These are also holiday photos that I took a couple of years ago now. Back in 2018, Pam and I went to Europe, and you can see this gentleman on the right hand side. He was our tour guide, taking us around the battlefields of World War I in Belgium. And you can see he's standing behind what looks like a rock. In actual fact, it's a concrete box, and you can see there's a little hole. You can see that there's various red flowers have been posted around that hole, and it would have been a machine gun post in the First World War. Now on the left hand side, I want you to look at that picture there. You can see there's some grass and some trees, and there's a kind of a wooden walkway. Now it doesn't look like much, but that is actually a hill. And it was one of the most important hills in the region in World War I. It was called Hill 60. And the reason it was called Hill 60 is the summit of this particular hill was 60 metres above sea level. Now that's not very high. I can tell you that my house, and I live quite close to the coast, is 40 metres above sea level. So 60 metres above sea level is not much higher. But it was one of the highest points in the fields around about this area. And so it became a very important point for the army or the armies in World War I to compete for. And one of the things that this walkway does is it marks where the different battle lines were and the front line of each army fighting over this hill. Because of course one of the things we know about hills and mountains is that by standing at the top you get a really good view of what is going on around about you. And so you won't have an enemy sneak up on you and catch you by surprise if you occupy the top of the hill. So this hill was very fiercely fought over, and many thousands of people died in the battle for this particular hill, Hill 60. Now, hills and mountains play another important part, and they play a role in the Bible as well. Now, we read at the beginning of the service these words from Psalm 48, and I'll read them again. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in his holy mountain. Beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion on the sides of the north, the city of the great King. Now I need to tell you a few things about this in case you're not familiar with it. It names a place called Mount Zion, and Mount Zion is in the city of Jerusalem, which is the capital of Israel. And Mount Zion was the place where the temple for the Jews was built. You see, the ancient people had a sense that in climbing a mountain and in reaching the top, you were getting closer to God. And so worship on the top of mountains became a very important thing for the ancient peoples. Now, when the Jewish church was founded, they abolished a lot of that because many of the things that were happening on mountains were not good. But the Lord established his temple on Mount Zion, the hill in Jerusalem. And that's where the people would go to worship. So they had this sense of going up the mountain to meet the Lord at the top of the mountain in this special temple. So it means worship to the Lord. The mountains mean worship to the Lord. But they can also mean something else. They can also mean our own sense of self-importance. As I said, many battles are fought over hills and mountains because they're so important for strategy in a war. And they can mean our own sense of self-importance in the things that we do in our daily lives. So there's two sides, if you like, to this image of the mountain. And we're going to reflect on that later as we go on and explore the book of Obadiah later on in the service.